This is KGW News at noon.
And we start today with the latest on the pandemic in Oregon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brenda Braxton. We're moving into our third summer with the coronavirus, and the numbers are kind of a mixed bag. Positive tests and infections went up slightly. However, the Oregon Health Authority believes those stats are dramatically underreported since many people are taking at-home tests or not getting tested at all. That's been the trend nationwide. Now, as far as patients being hospitalized with COVID, the numbers are up slightly compared to what we saw in May. Doctors believe this latest COVID wave has hit its peak, and this surge wasn't anywhere near as bad as what we saw during Delta and Omicron. Well, next week, kids as young as 6 months old could be eligible for the COVID shot. The FDA approved both the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines today. The CDC is meeting this weekend and is also expected to sign off. We talked to Dr. Katie Scharf at Kaiser Permanente Northwest. She says very young kids are at lower risk of getting seriously ill from COVID, but she reminds parents to keep an eye on the subvariants circulating in Oregon.
So these variants first were identified in South Africa. And what we know is they are more transmissible, 8 to 12% more transmissible than the current Omicron variant that's circulating. And additionally, they can evade prior immunities.
The Oregon Health Authority and the White House both say if you want your kids vaccinated, you should have no problem finding a place to do it. Now to Kalama High School, where police are investigating a hate crime. A 16-year-old is accused of using anti-gay slurs and attacking a transgender classmate. Alma McCarty talked to students, police, and community advocates.
I went up to my friends and I was like, what is going on?
Layla Mumford, a junior at Kalama High School, was troubled when she witnessed part of an altercation among students at the beginning of last week.
I wasn't really sure what was going on. And then they described the situation and I was like, isn't that like a hate crime?
Kalama police say 2 students were shouting anti-gay slurs as they walked behind the victim and a second student, who are both transgender. Police Chief Rafael Herrera said the victim took a swing at one of the 2 in response. One of the students taunting them backed off, but the other, he says, stepped in.
Our victim went to the ground, and the suspect continued to deliver blows while repeating those same slurs. Unfortunately, it also ended in a kick to the victim's head, resulting in a concussion that required some hospital care.
A week later, that suspect, a 16-year-old student, was charged with both assault and a hate crime offense. Several students organized a walkout to show their support for the injured teen and transgender rights. One that ended, the chief said, with a second student arrested and charged with a misdemeanor for telling a fellow student he wanted to aim an automatic machine gun in the direction of the group. An incident still under investigation.
Every member of the Kalama community deserves an opportunity to live their lives free of any harassment, threats, or violence.
It's devastating to see.
Seth Johnstone of Basic Rights Oregon.
It can be, catastrophic. 82% of our youth experience anti-LGBTQ rhetoric or bullying.
And Jess Guerrero, a pediatric social worker with OHSU's Transgender Health Program.
When there are incidents like this, we definitely see upticks in anxiety.
Stress that trans youth deserve protection and should feel safe, especially in their schools.
Folks might wake up and feel really good in their skin and then sign on to social media and see this and think, can I go to school safely today? Who will have my back?
I think it's really important for us to have zero tolerance policies for bullying. It's really important for parents to know that there's going to be a response, that there's going to be follow through from school leadership that will address how to create an equitable and safe environment.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Never before seen images show former Vice President Mike Pence sheltering underground as rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. The mob got within 40 feet of him as Secret Service rushed him to a secure location. The pictures came out yesterday as the January 6th committee heard from witnesses describing heated conversations after Pence refused President Trump's demands to reject the election results.
I remember hearing the word wimp. Either he called him a wimp. I don't remember if he said, "You are a wimp, you'll be a wimp."
It is unambiguous that the vice president does not have the authority to reject electors. There is no suggestion of any kind that it does.
The next hearing is scheduled for Tuesday. Look for testimony about former President Trump trying to pressure officials in states, including Georgia, to overturn the 2020 election. This noon, historic flooding continues to plague Yellowstone. The rushing water has destroyed entrances to the park as well as bridges. All of this is happening just before the busy summer tourist season. The north entrance, which is located in Montana, is expected to be closed all summer long, but the southern loop in Wyoming could reopen in a few weeks. We'll keep you posted about that. Okay, let's talk weather around here today. Rod, your radar is lit up this afternoon.
Yeah, by the way, the weather system that's bringing today's rain is going to be weakening long before it gets to Montana and Wyoming, meaning they could get some rain out of it, but not a lot. Okay. As the person watching the radar this morning, I want to take you back 6 hours. It's going to repeat here in just a moment. So earlier this morning, look at the thunderstorms, the lightning around Mount Jefferson. Then you see the bright colors. That was a heavy rain that did produce some good rain totals in parts of Clackamas and Marion County. But now as we go to our current picture, things are really starting to settle down. Still raining in Portland, although it's all light. And they're starting to get some dry breaks down around Salem. And just a little bit of rain right now outside of Astoria. Notice there are still heavy rain pockets. There's Mount Adams, and there's a heavy rain pocket north of Longview and some heavier showers south of Canby. The forecast moving forward is really tough to pinpoint for the rest of this afternoon. There's an upper level low that's in the process of pushing inland. So although rain is breaking up right now, we could potentially see things refire a bit into some heavier rain pockets as we go through the afternoon. We're at 57 with what is steady rain and still a steady light rain down at Stoller Family Vineyards Estate in Dayton where it's 53. Maybe we hit 61 today. We'll have your forecast for the weekend, including Father's Day, coming up.
Yeah, that's a big one. Thank you, sir.